Hey everybody, it's Mr. Shore. I wanted to go over nonfiction vocabulary with you all. And we start with what is nonfiction. So nonfiction is writing that is based on facts, real events, and real people. These are real stories that really happen. They're true stories. If you look in this background, we have Kobe Bryant's The Mamba Mentality, How I Play. This is a book he wrote about himself. So your memoirs, your personal narrative essays, your autobiographies, your biographies, your newspaper articles, those are all going to be considered nonfiction, as would your instructional booklets about how to put things together, um, all of your brochures or pamphlets about certain places. Those are all considered nonfiction because they all deliver facts. So, what is a fact? Fact is a statement that can be proven. It can be proven true or false. It's an important distinction to be made right here. A piece of information does not need to be accurate. It does not need to be correct in order to be considered a fact. As long as it can be measured, as long as you can prove it, and it's a fact. For example, if we said Parkside has 500 classrooms, that is a fact because we can measure what 500 classrooms look like. We can prove that. How would we do that? We'd go into the building, we'd count every single classroom. Now you may come up with 500, you may come up with a different number, but you can prove whether it has 500 classrooms. Doesn't need to be accurate, and accurate is something we'll talk about later in this presentation, but it's just right now important to know that a fact can be proven either true or false. Now, we often couple fact with opinion. An opinion is a statement based on personal preferences, beliefs, or attitudes. Unlike a fact, it cannot be proven, it can't be measured. A fact would be saying how tall someone is, and you can measure height. Okay? But if we said something like Parkside Middle School is the best school in Prince William County, you can't measure best. A lot of people have different definitions of what the best means. Does it mean you have the highest scores? Does it mean you have the greatest approval rating, the best teachers, whatever it may be? You can't prove best. It's not something that can be measured. So it's somebody's belief. Somebody else could believe that a different school is the best or that Parkside is the worst. Well, I hope you don't think that, but the point here is proving that an opinion is based on a belief. You can't measure it, you can't prove it. Somebody else might think differently, and therefore we have an opinion. Now we have relevance. Relevance is the degree to which something is related or connected to what is happening. Okay? If we are having a conversation in class, this actually happens a lot. I'll be going over relevance and I'll say any questions, and a student raises their hand and I get excited that they're going to have some question about relevance, that they need something they need to know, or they're going to make a connection, and then they ask me, can I use the restroom? The restroom has nothing to do with what we're talking about, which is what is relevancy. Similarly, if we're in class talking about the novel we're reading, we're talking about Freak the Mighty, or we're talking about The Giver, whatever novel we're reading. We're talking about The Giver in class, and a student talks about how awesome Avengers is. Well, Avengers has nothing to do with The Giver. If you're not making a connection and you're just telling me how great it is, guess what? You are not being relevant, you are being irrelevant. Okay? And we talked about accuracy earlier. Accuracy is the state of being correct or precise. Is the information true? Is the information correct? Okay, so your fact, if it is proven correct, then your fact is accurate. It's an accurate piece of information. I love football, and when a quarterback is able to throw the ball to his wide receiver and his wide receiver catches it, we say the quarterback is accurate because he was able to put the ball in the correct spot. Well, that's the same thing with this information. If you're able to be correct, then you are accurate. Another nonfiction vocabulary term is topic. Very simply put, the topic is the general subject of a piece of text, what we're talking about. So if we go back to that nonfiction slide, Kobe Bryant's book, Mamba Mentality. Well, the topic is Kobe Bryant. That's the subject. That's what we're talking about. Often confused is the main idea. Unlike the topic, it's not just a general subject. The main idea is the most important piece of text. It's what is being said about the topic. It's the idea the text is trying to get across. So in that Mamba Mentality book, it's about how Kobe Bryant plays basketball, how dedicated he was, how passionate he was, how hard he played. So while the general subject, the topic, is Kobe Bryant, what are we trying to say about Kobe Bryant? We're saying that he worked really hard and played with passion. And that's the main idea of that text. So any piece of text you have, the topic is what it's about. The main idea is what we're saying about that topic. The important idea that the piece of text is trying to get across. Finally, we have summary. Summary is a brief retelling of the story using the main idea and the key points. It does not include little details. It doesn't include every single thing, right? When you're in class and your teacher, after you've just read a novel, we've just read The Giver. The Giver is triple digits in pages, over 100 pages, over 200 pages. When a teacher asks you to write a summary, they don't want you to write a 100-page summary and include everything that happened. They want you to write the important things that happen, the main points. Think of it like when you go home and whoever's at home waiting for you asks you about your day. How was your day? You don't respond by saying, well, I got on the bus, we stopped at the red light, then we stopped at the corner and picked up Susie. It was a 30-minute bus ride. I walked into the building. I went to my locker. I tapped Johnny on the shoulder and tried to mess with him. I opened my locker. I took my books out. I put my pencil in my pocket. Right? You don't give every single little detail. That story would go on and on and on forever. What you do is when someone asks you how was your day, you say, oh, it was really good. I got an A on my math test. We won our soccer game in PE, and Mr. Short told a funny joke. You go over the key points, the highlights, the most important pieces of information. So when you're writing a summary, it's the same thing. Whatever you're summarizing, whatever brief retelling you're doing, you do it using the highlights of what you read or watched or saw. Highlights, the main idea, the key points. And that's nonfiction.